The patient holds a 90% rating on Rotten Tomatoes despite being one of the most disturbing psychological thrillers ever made. Dr. Allan Strauss is a therapist dealing with the recent death of his wife. He's trying to rebuild his practice and his life, but grief has made everything harder. His relationship with his son Ezra is strained because Ezra has become Orthodox Jewish, creating tension over religious observance. A new patient named Sam Fortner makes an appointment. Sam seems normal during their first session, polite, articulate, claiming he has anger management issues. He talks about his childhood, his relationship with his mother, and his struggles with violent thoughts. Allan conducts the session professionally, but something feels off about Sam. His stories don't quite add up, and there's an intensity behind his eyes that makes Allan uncomfortable. After several sessions, Sam's behavior becomes more concerning. He asks invasive questions about Allan's personal life, his family, and his daily routines. Allan tries to maintain professional boundaries, but Sam is persistent. During what Allan thinks is a routine session, Sam reveals his true nature. He's not just having violent thoughts, he's acting on them. Sam is a serial killer, and he's been studying Allan to determine if he can help him control his urges. Sam drugs Allan and transports him to a basement. When Allan wakes up, he's chained to a bed with a long chain that allows him to move around a small basement area, but prevents him from leaving. Sam explains the situation calmly. He wants Allan to continue their therapy sessions, but under these new conditions. Sam believes that if Allan can help him control his homicidal urges, he'll let Allan go. If not, Sam will kill Allan and find another therapist. Allan is trapped in the basement, trying to process his situation. The space is furnished with basic necessities: a bed, a small bathroom area, and a chair where Sam sits during their sessions. Sam continues their therapy sessions as if nothing has changed. He talks about his childhood trauma, his relationship with his abusive father, and his mother's enabling behavior. Allan realizes that Sam genuinely believes therapy can help him. Allan tries multiple strategies to escape. He tests the strength of his chains, looks for weaknesses in the room, and tries to find ways to communicate with the outside world. Everything fails. Sam has planned this carefully. During their sessions, Allan begins to understand Sam's psychology. Sam was abused as a child, and his killing started as a way to regain control. But now the urges have taken over his life, and he's genuinely desperate to stop. Allan faces an ethical dilemma. His professional training tells him to help Sam, but his survival instincts tell him to escape. He realizes that actually helping Sam might be his best chance of survival. Sam brings Allan food and basic supplies. Their interactions are surreal. Sam acts like a caring patient, checking on Allan's comfort and asking about his needs. This false normalcy makes the situation even more disturbing. Allan begins to strategize, and he realizes that Sam wants to get better, which gives Allan leverage. If he can convince Sam that he's making progress, he might be able to manipulate the situation to his advantage. Allan starts experiencing psychological strain from his captivity. He has flashbacks to his wife's death, memories of his strained relationship with his son, and fears about what's happening to his practice. Sam continues their therapy sessions, and Allan begins to engage more actively. He realizes that Sam's need for approval and validation might be exploitable. Allan starts providing the kind of therapeutic feedback that Sam wants to hear. During one session, Sam reveals that he's killed multiple people. He describes his methods and his victim selection process with clinical detachment. Allan is horrified but tries to maintain his professional composure. Allan attempts to learn more about Sam's life outside the basement. Sam works a regular job, has relationships with coworkers, and maintains a facade of normalcy. This double life has become exhausting for Sam. The sessions become more intense as Allan probes deeper into Sam's psyche. Sam talks about his mother's role in his childhood abuse and how her failure to protect him shaped his worldview. Allan realizes that Sam's mother still lives in the house above the basement. This means there's another person who knows about Allan's captivity, but she's apparently complicit in Sam's crimes. Sam's behavior becomes more erratic. He's genuinely trying to control his urges, but the therapy is bringing up painful memories that make him more volatile. Allan's isolation is broken when Sam brings someone else to the basement. It's another victim, a man named Elias who Sam has decided to kill. Sam explains that he's brought Elias here because he wants to test whether the therapy is working. If Sam can resist killing Elias, it means Allan's treatment is effective. If not, both Allan and Elias will die. Allan finds himself in an impossible position. He has to convince Sam not to kill Elias, but he also has to maintain the therapeutic relationship that's keeping him alive. Elias is terrified and doesn't understand what's happening. Allan tries to calm him while also working with Sam to process his urges. The basement becomes a twisted therapy group. Sam struggles with his impulses. He's brought Elias here to kill him, but the therapy sessions with Allan have made him question his actions. Sam is genuinely conflicted about what to do. Allan uses every therapeutic technique he knows to help Sam resist his urges. He talks about impulse control, coping mechanisms, and the root causes of Sam's behavior. The tension builds as Sam wavers between his desire to kill and his desire to get better. Allan realizes that this is a test not just of the therapy, but of his own survival. Despite Allan's efforts, Sam ultimately kills Elias. The therapy hasn't worked, and Sam is disappointed in both himself and Allan. This failure makes Sam more dangerous and less trusting of the therapeutic process. Allan is traumatized by witnessing Elias's murder. He's forced to confront the reality that his therapeutic efforts might not be enough to save either himself or Sam's future victims. Sam's mother becomes more involved in the situation. She brings Allan food and basic supplies, and it becomes clear that she's been enabling Sam's behavior for years. Her complicity is driven by her own guilt over Sam's childhood abuse. Allan tries to connect with Sam's mother, hoping she might help him escape, but she's too afraid of Sam and too invested in the fantasy that therapy can cure him. The sessions between Allan and Sam become more intense. Sam is frustrated by his failure to control his urges, and he begins to blame Allan for not being a better therapist. Allan experiences more psychological symptoms from his captivity. He has difficulty sleeping, eating, and concentrating. The constant fear and stress are taking a physical toll. Sam talks about his relationship with his mother and how her enabling behavior has contributed to his problems. Allan realizes that the family dynamic is more complex than he initially understood. Allan begins to have imaginary conversations with his deceased wife. These conversations help him process his situation and maintain his sanity, but they also indicate that his mental state is deteriorating. Sam's behavior becomes more unpredictable. He's genuinely trying to change, but the therapy is bringing up memories and emotions that make him more volatile. Allan's psychological state continues to deteriorate. He starts having imaginary conversations with his former therapist, Charlie, who helps him process his situation and develop coping strategies. Sam forces Allan to help him dispose of Elias's body. This involvement in the cover-up makes Allan complicit in Sam's crimes and adds another layer of psychological trauma. During the body disposal, Allan sees an opportunity to leave evidence that might lead to his rescue. He writes Sam's name on a piece of paper and hides it in Elias's mouth, hoping investigators will find it. Sam's relationship with his mother becomes more strained. She's beginning to realize that the therapy isn't working and that keeping Allan captive was a mistake. Allan's imaginary conversations with Charlie become more frequent and detailed. Charlie advises Allan on how to handle his captor and maintain his psychological stability. The sessions between Allan and Sam focus on Sam's relationship with his mother and how her enabling behavior has contributed to his problems. Allan tries to help Sam understand that his mother's failure to protect him was a form of abuse. Sam agrees to leave Elias's body somewhere it will be found, rather than burying it. This decision represents a small step toward empathy and consideration for others. Allan's hope for rescue grows as he imagines investigators finding the evidence he left with Elias's body, but he also realizes that any rescue attempt might result in his death. Allan's mental state continues to decline. He experiences visions of concentration camps and Holocaust imagery, connecting his current suffering to historical Jewish trauma. Sam returns from disposing of Elias's body to find Allan attempting to recite the Kaddish, the Jewish prayer for the dead. Allan is grieving not just for Elias, but for his wife and for his own lost life. Allan's inability to remember the complete Kaddish becomes a symbol of his disconnection from his identity and his past. The captivity is erasing parts of who he is. Sam decides to seek additional therapeutic help. He tracks down Mr. Bucella, a therapist from his elementary school who might remember his childhood trauma. Sam's meeting with Mr. Bucella is awkward and concerning. Mr. Bucella doesn't immediately recognize Sam, but he agrees to consider becoming his therapist. Allan's conversations with imaginary Charlie become more detailed and helpful. Charlie provides therapeutic insight that helps Allan understand both his own situation and Sam's psychology. Sam's behavior becomes more erratic as the therapy brings up childhood memories. He's genuinely trying to change, but the process is making him more unstable. Allan realizes that Sam's need for approval and validation from authority figures is driving his behavior. Sam wants to be seen as someone who can be helped and redeemed. Allan's imaginary conversations with Charlie focus on his relationship with his son Ezra. Allan's captivity has given him perspective on their religious differences and his own parenting failures. Meanwhile, Ezra is actively searching for his missing father. He's contacted police, hired investigators, and is genuinely worried about Allan's disappearance. The search for Allan forces Ezra to confront his own rigidity about religious observance. He begins to compromise on some Jewish traditions in order to focus on finding his father. Sam's frustration with his therapy progress leads to violence outside the basement. He confronts his boss at work about a minor issue, and that evening he stalks and murders his boss in an alley. Sam returns to the basement and informs Allan that he's killed again. This failure of the therapy makes Sam question whether Allan is really helping him or just manipulating him. Sam decides to change therapists, suggesting that his sessions with Allan aren't working. This decision terrifies Allan because it suggests that Sam might no longer need to keep him alive. Allan's conversations with imaginary Charlie help him understand that his captivity has changed him fundamentally. He's no longer the same person who entered that basement. The murder of Sam's boss represents a significant escalation. Sam's kills are becoming more personal and more frequent. frequent, suggesting that the therapy is actually making him worse. Allan's psychological state reaches a breaking point. His hallucinations become more vivid and frequent, and he begins to prepare for the possibility that he might need to kill Sam to survive. Allan sharpens a tube of ointment into a makeshift blade, representing his transition from passive victim to potential aggressor. This change in Allan's mindset is significant. During a therapy session, Allan tells Sam that he needs to find meaning in his life and build relationships. Allan suggests that Sam should start by rebuilding his relationship with his mother. Sam complains that the relationship advice isn't working. Allan becomes more confrontational, suggesting that Sam's real anger is directed at his father, not his random victims. Sam misinterprets Allan's therapeutic intervention. Rather than understanding that he needs to process his feelings about his father, Sam decides that he should kill his father. Allan realizes that his therapeutic advice has been twisted into justification for another murder. His attempts to help Sam are actually enabling more violence. The session ends with Sam leaving to confront his father. Allan is left alone in the basement, knowing that his words might have just sentenced another person to death. Allan's conversation with imaginary Charlie becomes more urgent. Charlie warns Allan that his situation is deteriorating rapidly and that he needs to take action to save himself. Sam confronts his father about the childhood abuse. The confrontation is intense and emotional, with Sam finally expressing years of suppressed anger and pain. Sam almost kills his father but stops himself at the last moment. He realizes that killing his father won't solve his problems or heal his trauma. When Sam returns to the basement, Allan interprets Sam's restraint as progress. Allan suggests that Sam stopped because he doesn't want to become like his father and because he's changing as a person. He tells Sam that it's time to let him go and argues that Sam has made enough progress to continue therapy through traditional means. Sam doesn't want to honor his agreement to release Allan. He's become dependent on their sessions and afraid of facing the world without Allan's guidance. Sam hints that he plans to keep Allan captive for years. This revelation terrifies Allan, who realizes that Sam never intended to let him go. Allan tells Sam that the only appropriate option now is institutionalization. Sam needs to turn himself into authorities and get proper treatment. Sam refuses to consider institutionalization. He's convinced that his arrangement with Allan is working and that he can continue to improve with Allan's help. Allan attempts to threaten Sam's mother as a way to force Sam to let him go. This desperate move represents Allan's complete abandonment of his professional ethics. Sam kills Allan in response to the threat against his mother. Allan's death is sudden and brutal, ending his months of captivity. Sam sends a letter to Allan's family, presumably explaining what happened. The contents of the letter are not revealed, but it provides closure for Allan's family. In the final scene, Sam locks himself in the basement where he held Allan captive. He gives the key to his mother, effectively imprisoning himself as a form of self-punishment. The series ends with Sam choosing self-imprisonment over freedom. He's internalized Allan's lessons about accountability and consequence, but he's applied them in his own twisted way. Allan's family finally learns what happened to him through Sam's letter. Ezra's search for his father ends with the worst possible news, but at least the family has closure. The patient doesn't offer easy answers about therapy, trauma, or redemption. Sam's final choice suggests that some people can't be saved, even with the best professional help. What did you think about the ending? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below.